Good morning, guys. So welcome to Stoak'd Studio. We're going to go into 3 sets of masks, I think it is, or 2 sets of masks and the alpha lock. Yeah, so yesterday had a few questions or requests from people to ask if they or I could actually put in some tutorials for the alpha lock, clipping mask again, and the masks, but obviously trying to use them in certain ways that, you know, just not to explain it, but actually use it in something I'm going to do, or that kind of relevance, which is fine, not a problem. So we'll start off with alpha lock. So we're going to get a new layer and get rid of my Stoak'd Studio logo. Make sure I got a good pen. You will do. So alpha lock made things easier for people to, in essence, lock a layer and not go outside of that layer. So one way of doing this on a grand scale is to show you what, let's say, I've drawn a character. This is his eyeball, okay? So, you know, we would just fill this in. And I've got the face around it or whatever, but I want to, you know, do stuff to this. So let's do something a bit fun, shall we? Let's do an evil eye. So airbrush. So as you well know, as the layer stands, I've filled it, yeah? But if I draw, it's gonna go all over the place, yeah? It'll go inside the layer, outside the layer. So what alpha lock does is to actually allow you to only draw inside that layer. Now the checkered chessboard, that says that it's in alpha lock, and you also get a tick. Another way to do it is by swiping 2 fingers to the right, yeah? 2 fingers to the right switches it off, 2 fingers right switches back on, or you can tap it and you'll see the tick. So with my airbrush, now with it alpha locked, if I was to draw outside, nothing happens, yeah? So until I go in or around the side, now it is part of that layer. So we're gonna give this eye rough kind of guideline. So that's the eye. So now with alpha lock, because I can't do anything outside, it's all inside the layer, which is an awesome thing. If I was still drawing, I'd build the layers up to draw inside layer after layer, okay? So you can turn this layer off and then carry on working, doing whatever you want if you're doing separate layers. So let's say, for instance, I want to do, let's do the iris, basically, just like the shine on the, okay, so I've done this. So now I've got my shine on my eye, but maybe I want to cut it back. I could do that by just alpha locking this. Like so, 2 fingers, yeah. So it's locked, and then maybe do something different. Give it a deeper red. But then it doesn't affect anything outside, so I can just do inside this layer. Not that you would do that, but if anything, you would probably change it back to black, like so, and that'll give you the idea. Alpha lock really works on the presence of being only on one layer. So if you're doing stuff by yourself or for yourself, then it works pretty well. If you do something quick, then it works again very well. If you've just drawn an outline of someone's clothing and it's on one layer, you can alpha lock that layer and just draw within that layer and then carry on. But if you're doing this for a client and you've put everything on one layer because you've been alpha locking it, and then your client says, well, can you change that particular eye color to, I don't know, can you change it to green? Well, like a green instead of the red. Well, yeah, I can. All I would do is go alpha lock, but I'd have to do it all over again, which means it could be different. You might not remember what brush you used. So you can't just go in and select this red, change it to green, and it would be the exact same. So when I say that, I mean I could go in, get my soft brush, get a certain tone of green, but when I go in to do it, it might not be the same as the original picture, because now I'm having to press harder and go over it. So now the iris has got smaller. So because it wasn't on a separate layer, I can't change it. I'm having to redo it all over again. So that's kind of the downfall of alpha lock. But it is pretty cool. Sometimes I use it if I just want to lock a certain layer and then just go mental across the page. Then that's perfect for it. So hopefully it gives you an understanding of alpha lock. Okay, what are we getting into now? Let's move you up one layer. Clipping masks, that's it. I've got two different variations. So I'm going to do kind of my variation of a clipping mask. So, you know, I like to do like bubble words and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is quickly draw my name in bubble letters. Someone told me to try the script pen. So I think that's in code. Let me just have some fun here while I'm doing this tutorial. So I'm just gonna try and draw my name in some bubbles. Probably just gonna make this way too big. Yeah, it's good though. Let's bring this over here. Make it a little bit bigger, and then we shall delete these spaces quickly so I can just fill the layer. That's locked off, they're all good. That probably needs closing up. So I'm just doing this rough obviously so you can see what I'm going to do. So I would drop the layer, drop this in here. It's been a bit of a pain today. Alright, so that's completely dropped in. So, clipping mask works on a premise that the layer that you've drawn on is, in essence, the layer, the only layer, and everything else above it is clipped to it if you use a clipping mask. So if I add a layer, which I'm not going to do because what I actually want to do is put the Cayman Islands flag into it where I live. So I place this, make sure I'm on that layer. Here's one I prepared earlier. So the flag itself is going to be clipped into that area that I've just drawn. So if I click on here, clipping mask, now it clips into that actual layer, as it were. I mean, you get the idea. I'll do a different one in a second because you can't really see very much with this particular one. You can't see my name anymore because it's all bubble layer. But the whole idea is that it got rid of, and it's given you a layer, a little area, a little arrow that clips into this particular one. So this layer being the parent. So now I can actually add another layer and do something even more crazy. So maybe a texture brush. There's texture's gone. Let's do gridiron. So I go over the top of it like so. Do something fancy. And because this layer is going to be clipped to the parent layer, it'll suck inside and the outside will stay white. Yeah. So I've given it kind of a, what's that, like an iron fence? Well, that's what it was called, obviously. Yeah. There you go, corrugated iron. So given that flag, bit of a kind of corrugated iron look to it. But the whole idea is that it sucks into that space. So let's just delete this and this and this. Do another one so you can get the general idea. So let's say, for instance, we'll just do, still on corrugated iron it is. Let's go back, that was actually pretty cool with that script. I'm always trying to skip out the, just do something weird like that, fill it in. So now, let's say we're going to put some kind of texture on this particular thing, wherever it is, a splotch, and I want to kind of go mental with it. I can add a new layer, and like I said, this is the parent layer. So this layer, I'm going to change this color to like a whitish green. Let's put some octagons in there, and I'm going to go absolutely crazy across the screen like so. And then all I need to do here is clip to mask, and then you've got the effect inside the actual layer. So what in essence trying to do is allow you to go over the edges, because if you try doing this like this, you can see the bubble goes over, or whatever texture you might have. So let's delete that one, let's try a different one. Textures, decimals, good. Put more white so it comes through. So this, you can see right now, it looks perfect, right? Only problem is, if I turn on my background layer, you can see what I've done, yeah? So with the background layer on, you can see that I've gone absolutely over the lines. So if I did, let's turn the background layer off again. Oh, sorry, let's put it back to white. Yeah, or slight off grayish. You can see the decimals. Now, as soon as I turn this to a clipping mask, it disappears completely. If I turn the background layer to black, you can see that all the decimals are inside, and I've clipped into it, and I haven't got a problem of, you know, taking this file and downloading it and then realizing, having clipped this at all, thinking, oh, it's in white, it looks really good, because the background was obviously either turned off or you couldn't see it, and I haven't got the image I wanted. So basically this is clipping to a layer, which is pretty cool, especially if you're going to do texture inside a layer, anything of that nature. Another cool thing I see a lot of is, let's get rid of this one. Okay, delete. We'll do a new layer, and we shall put this back to white. Sorry, hold on 2 seconds, guys. Values. Alright, that should be back to pure white. Nope. Close enough. Okay, so another cool thing I see a lot of is calligraphy. People doing lettering, but in all these kind of real cool funky colors. Yeah. Now you can design a brush that does this for you, but if you want to cheat, or a quick way of doing it is by clipping, is go to your brushes, whatever it might be. Let's just get a huge paintbrush, some with a bit of texture in it. Right, now I'm going to choose all kind of random colors. Just layer this off. And all bright red. Get another cool orange. Okay, so basically just fill in the background however you want. Okay, so this is going to be what shows up when you start drawing. So the best way to do this, I have to use my brain at the moment because I'm trying to remember. So I get another layer and I'm going to use a white, I believe it is, and this is going to clip to this layer. So just like before, because this is going to be the parent layer, and obviously I'm going to draw anything in here, but this is going to be clipped. So use a white, choose a brush, whatever it might be. Now when I draw, nothing's going to happen because it's underneath the layer. Okay, so you go into here. Let's just undo that paint stroke so there's nothing completely, so you can see the magic happen. Let's just delete that layer, it's going to be annoying otherwise. So you're going to press clip and it'll turn it white. Now the cool thing here is what people get so annoyed about is because this is a white layer. I'm going to use a white pen, and when I draw, it's going to look like magic colors are about to show up. So hey, so using the background and clipping forward or clipping onto a white canvas using a white pen, you can bring that background through, which in essence is kind of like using a layer mask, but we'll get into that in a second anyway. But if you want to try different styles of, you know, handwriting and want a funky color, then just create a background and then draw onto it by using the clipping mask. Yeah, so do the background first, set it to clipping mask, add a new layer, put it underneath so it's the parent, and then draw away, and then you're all good. I was on the wrong layer. And then you can draw to your heart's content, and it will give you something new in this process. So you can change the colors. One thing I will say is if you choose a black layer, or sorry, a black pen, the colors that are clipped to it are going to come out darker. That was my general kind of feel to it, whereas when it was on a white, they seem to be a little bit more vibrant, should I say. So if it's darker, obviously it just comes out a little bit. If you use the black, it's a bit darker. If you use white, it comes out a bit more vibrant because all you're doing is scrubbing away the layer to bring out the color. But that's a very cool way of using clipping masks. All right, so last one is layer mask. Okay, this one I had some trouble with myself, but I digress and we get to it. So most cases people use layer mask, or best way to explain layer mask is a sheet of paper with something on it and then another sheet of paper having a silhouette cut out of it and then laid on top of it. So let's say this is our piece of paper with this image, so this woman on a boat. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on it, mask. Now mask works on a white and black. If you go to the greys, then it kind of drops, it's opaque. or makes it see-through. So you need white or black. Choose one. I'll tell you in a second. I'll just show you what white does and what black does, because I always get confused myself. But one deletes everything, one brings it back. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to put, let's make sure I'm on the right script, that'll do. Let's put a heart around this. So now I know that this one is to bring back. So white brings back stuff, black deletes it. So put that on black. So now, if I'm on a layer mask, if I do this, yeah, so it's deleted it. So this would be my silhouette, and all I would do is drop it. So now I've put a piece of paper with, say, a heart shape over the top of it. Let's say I don't like that heart shape. I can go back to the white and I can bring it back. Yeah? Or make some kind of cool effect. Like this. Yeah? Obviously only goes to the edge of whatever the image is, but you can bring it back. So I can put some squiggly lines. Looks like a weird head. Okay? So that's kind of a way of explaining a mask in that respect. Now another cool thing you can do is, if you have an image and you want to draw on top of it, I need to clear this. You got an image, you want to draw on top of it, but you want to make it kind of like go in one ear, out the other, you know, so letters are hidden behind her, that kind of thing. So you want to lock this layer so there's no chance of you drawing accidentally on that layer. Add a new layer. Choose whatever. Yeah, do it the same as a pants, I guess. Would be interesting. Okay, I'm on script, I believe. Bring the brush size down. And let's try. Kind of a, yeah, I mean that's the general gist, I suppose. So we'll just say boat for now. Or actually let's just write, I don't know, happy. That would be better. Okay. All right, so you can see by this that there are parts of this layering that's over her, under her, and all the rest of it. So what you can do is set this to a mask layer by tapping. So now you're on the mask layer. Now, same process again. You're going to use either white or black. So as before, black takes it away. And then we're going to drop this down, and I'm going to hide the A like so. But you can tell where you could have problems, right? Because you can't see past this what it is. So the only thing, or one thing you can do is actually drop the opacity of the word so you can see through to the image. That's why you need to lock this layer and put it on top, so there's no way of you drawing on top of it. So now I can see quite clearly where the A and her shoulder stops. You can get rid of all of this, all the way down. The other shoulder, oh, press a bit too high. Went a bit too far there, but kind of just for an example, so you can get the general idea. Okay. And then you can get really intricate. You could probably like do strands of hair and all the rest of it, whatever works for you to make it a clean image. So now you can see you've put happy behind it, don't forget to turn your opacity back up, and it's part of the image. And all you did was draw over the top of it, but then just mask the layer. So now you can see, you can do a little effect to it, bring down the opacity so it's kind of showing through, make it look like one of those catalogs, you know, because that's kind of what it looks like right now. So you could, in essence, put wording into a photograph, mask it however you want, take out letters, put letters back in. Like I said, if you're going to use this layer, black deletes it, and then white would bring it back. So now let's say, oh, I can see I've done too much of a shoulder. Obviously I'm drawing in white to bring it back, but it's bringing back the color that I drew with. Yeah, so that's kind of how that works. So let's say, oh, I like the P over the top of her shoulder, it looks like it's trying to hug her, and so on and so forth. Well, I think that's it. Hopefully that has explained it pretty well for you and gives you kind of a general idea of what's going on and these 3 different types of gestures and quick links for Procreate. If you've got any questions, please do leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. As always, share with friends. I'm just a beginner like you, but doing these tutorials help me get better and hopefully teaches you something as well. So please do share with other people, subscribe, all the usual fun things, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.